Mr. Baxter, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, the podcast where nostalgia comes alive. Since July of 2021, Jake and his friends have interviewed professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and many more. Who will they be chatting with in this week's interview? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy here with us as always. I'm your host, Jake Deffinbaugh. Me too, as always. My co-host Chris Bixby and Matt Bingel. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Jake.
Good. Hello, everybody. How you doing, Jakey?
That's great to hear. I'm doing great as always. Thank you for asking. Matt, what do we have for today?
Welcome, everybody. Glad you're with us. Today's guest is an animator and the owner of Ahlbum Animation Studios. You've seen his work on Sesame Street, including segments for Elmo's World, as well as some additional illustrations for Sesame Street magazine. In addition, he's also created channel idents for Nickelodeon, most famously the two dinosaur bumpers you saw in the late 80s and early 90s. Had a little bit of a revival in the last, I'd say, decade or so. He's also done some animation graphics for Gullah Gullah Island, but you mostly remember his work for the opening titles and end credits of Sesame Street, the opening titles, the Calypso era of Sesame, as us fans would call it. The opening was used from 1992 to 1988, but the end credits were used for longer, up until 2006. We'll talk about a lot more about that. Here he is, Joey Ahlbum. Joey, welcome. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Yes, great to have you here.
Yes, great to have you here. So we know who you are, and I kind of introduced you a little bit.
Yes.
But in your own words, would you care to introduce yourself a little bit?
Well, it does cover a bit of ground. So I'm an animator, and didn't really set out to concentrate on the children's market, but that's kind of where I got directed. So early on, I did projects for HBO Brain Games, and that kind of led to the Nickelodeon IDs, and that led to other stuff like Sesame Street, and Sesame Street led to Elmo's World. Through it all, I kind of developed a long-term friendship with Fred Seibert, and he's been a person who's given me a lot of great projects over the years.
Definitely. And for those who don't know who Fred Seibert is, he's responsible for the company Frederator Productions that produced The Fairly Odd Parents, My Life's a Teenage Robot, a whole bunch of other shows.
A lot of great shows too.
Yes. So before becoming an animator and author, what was your childhood like, and how did you grow up?
I actually grew up in New York City in the era of Saturday morning television, that's when you watched your cartoons. And it usually started around like 7 or 8 in the morning, and you would watch till like 12 or 1 o'clock and saw all the classic animations. And then a little when I grew up a little bit, I think when I was teenage years, they would have the Bugs Bunny on in the afternoon. And that was also a kind of a thing I love to watch and influence on me.
Nice.
Awesome. So what inspired you to get into animation?
Yeah, I always liked drawing, and I think at some point, I guess I was kind of excited about making things move. I'm not sure where it came from, but it's just something that I knew I wanted to try and do.
Definitely. And I know besides Bugs Bunny, were there any other specific cartoons that inspired you in any way?
I mean, I think I like the whole kind of style of the Saturday morning. I think that was sort of a big influence, but maybe like, and it was also the time when the Flintstones were on in like primetime TV. So it was kind of like a situation comedy, but it was animated. And then also the Yellow Submarine came out
Oh yes.
and that was
Mhm.
I mean, I loved that film. So maybe that was kind of an influence.
Definitely.
As along with I think when I got a little older, like revisiting some of the Disney classics. I mean, I remember seeing Fantasia when I was a kid, but also 101 Dalmatians and Pinocchio.
Of course.
Those, yeah.
Nice.
I love Fantasia. You know, it's very unique for what it is, but
Yeah.
it really is wonderful.
Yeah.
I haven't seen all of Fantasia 2000 though, but I have seen the original. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your very first gig as an animator was, at least professionally?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, right out of college, I got a gig working on a short, which was kind of like a Say No to Drugs type of short, called Doing What the Crowd Does. And the director was Peter Wallach, who was Eli Wallach's son. Peter Wallach actually went on to do special effects for, I think, the second Star Trek movie. He was an interesting guy. But then in that job, I was coloring and it was all rotoscope, coloring and tracing. Right
Nice.
after that, I got a job for another independent animator named Edward Baxt, and that was strictly doing magic marker coloring on paper. Because my thesis film at SVA had been all magic marker coloring on paper, so I was very skilled at it. So that was my second sort of job. But right after that, I would say, I think pretty much right after that, I got a great gig, which was working on brain games for Noyes and Laybourne. Eli Noyes and Kit Laybourne had started a company. And there I got to do my own short segment, animation, my style. So that was really like a dream job.
So for years, you worked on various inserts for a long-running children's series, Sesame Street. How did you kind of begin, kind of involved with that?
Yeah, that's a great question. This very rarely happens. I had been a fan of Sesame Street forever. I had just finished up a project and I had nothing lined up. And I sent them a sample reel. In those days, we had sample reels actually on these clunky videotapes that you would send around to people. So I sent them, I found the name of the person, Arlene Sherman. I sent her my reel, and lo and behold, she replied, she responded, and she said, we love your work and we have a project we think you'd be perfect for. That's like a 1 in a million thing that almost never happens, but it happened, so that was awesome. And that first project was their new closing credit sequence.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I was hoping, maybe a counting piece, maybe a letter, but they said, oh, we want you to do a new closing credit thing, and we want it to run for 10 years, and we've never changed it before. It was like, oh boy, what have I gotten myself into?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the good thing is it ran longer than 10 years, I think.
it did. It did. It ran
Like
for
Matt said, it
14
ran
years.
until like 2006. So
14 years that ran.
had a very long run.
Yes.
Yeah, they cut it down a little bit, but it did have a good long
Right.
run.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they had changed the at least the what the footage of it was, because for years, I think from I want to say like 1980 to 1992, they had Barkley and the kids just
running
about.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Yeah.
They had used that for a long time, but yours was even longer than that. Like
That's right.
Crazy,
Yeah.
like you said,
Like
they had,
what?
they had shortened it down a little bit by the early 2000s, but
Right.
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, I'm curious. Do you have a favorite Sesame character?
Oh, yeah. I'm really partial to Bert and Ernie. I think, I mean, that's
Yeah.
two, but I think their comedy and their relationship is really,
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And,
Definitely.
and then Kermit, who doesn't love Kermit?
Of
Right,
course.
right, yeah.
I
Yes.
mean, I could mention so
Who
I also
doesn't?
got to do a piece with Grover, um, where Grover counts bubbles, and the bubbles were animated. I did the animation of the bubbles.
Oh,
Um, and
Wow.
so Grover, I don't know, was Frank Oz, the amazing director and obviously
Mm-hmm.
puppeteer. So we did just kind of like a run through. I got to meet Frank Oz. He did this thing where he didn't even have Grover, but he just stuck his hand up and became Grover. And it was like so cool. That was a really fun project too.
Definitely.
yeah, must have been really fun.
Absolutely.
Do you have any favorite inserts you got to work on for Sesame?
I mean, I've always been really partial to this song I got to do called Tall Short Texans,
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
because it
Yeah.
was really close to like the kind of film I would want to make, even, almost for myself. I love that kind of storytelling style of country music. Um, Sometimes when I hear old, like a Johnny Cash song, I think this would make a great animation. And this was almost like getting to do that. So that was really, I really like that piece.
Some of your best known work on Sesame Street, as Matt mentioned in your introduction, was on the TV sequences for Elmo's World. What was it like
Yes.
doing those?
Yeah, that was really interesting. So it was a challenge because I was used to doing just like one minute piece or a couple of 1 minute pieces. And then the seasons were actually like 10 episodes. Um, so we had to figure out how to make that work, uh, and within the production time. So uh, the first season was a little, we weren't quite there yet, but the second
Right.
season we figured out how to make it work. And that was we had a great run. It was that same producer, Arlene Sherman. She was amazing. And then the voice was Andrea Martin was
Oh,
the
nice.
voice. And
Yeah,
so
that's
I
great.
got to go into the studio with her once a year. That was, amazing too. So yeah, that was a great project.
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of good ones. One of my favorite, I'm not sure if you remember, one of my favorite TV sequences was in the Street We Live On special, which had some of the other
Yeah.
Sesame Street characters in it.
Oh yeah, that was fun too.
That's a beautiful special.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yes.
At that time, celebrated 35 years at that point,
Yeah, now
which was
it's
amazing in and of itself. Now
Right.
it's been almost 20 years since then,
I
and it's
know.
still going. It's
yeah,
Yeah, at that time it seemed like 35 years. Wow. And
yeah,
yeah, it just keeps going and going.
yep.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
It
And
absolutely
and
keeps
by the
moving.
way, I in these past 2 years, I've gotten to do inserts for the current seasons of the show. So that's been a real thrill for me as well.
Oh, nice.
Ah, wow,
Awesome.
that's great.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
Nice.
great.
Really nice.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, seems like we know a lot more people
That's
currently
awesome.
working on the show than we thought we did.
Right.
Honestly, as
Yeah.
we as
And a
we kind of
few for their YouTube stuff as well.
oh yeah, the YouTube stuff's great too.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we've had a good friend of ours now is a puppeteer for Sesame. Brandon
Mhm.
Smith, really good friend of ours, been puppeteering for years. I've known for a few years now. He's a puppeteer at Sesame. We just recently had Sebastiano Ricci, who's also new, but he's also done some Winnie the Pooh stuff. I think
Oh, wow.
he just finished the tour in Australia for the musical.
Yeah,
Oh,
that they did.
that's
for
amazing.
directing. Yeah.
Directing the tour in Australia for the Winnie the Pooh show. Absolute. It's really amazing. Like it's I just had a flashback with this. Like when we interviewed our friend Brandon Smith, we had no clue that he had made it to Sesame Street. We had no idea
Oh.
until he told us on the show. We're just like, what? Like I don't think it hit us until after we recorded it. I don't think.
I know.
At least
Right.
it didn't for me.
Yeah.
But no, they do a lot of great work. Sesame, they're new and current puppeteers. Like Chris said before we've had we said before we had a lot of Sesame puppeteers on the show in the past. Chris brought some up before we went on the air here.
Yeah.
And again, it seems like we know a lot more people at Sesame than we thought we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the thrills of working on Elmo's World was getting the chance to occasionally drop by the set when they were filming, which was an
nice.
amazing experience. And even I even got to take my like 4 or 5 year old at that time 4 or 5 year old daughter on the set to meet Elmo. So that was
Aww.
and it's amazing too with kids and meeting the Muppets. They never see the person.
Nope.
That's right there, doing the puppet. They only talk to the Muppet.
They only talk to the Muppet. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They like. I don't care about that. I'm caring about
I don't know who you are. I care about you.
I'm just here to see Elmo or
I'm just here to see
Grover or
Elmo
Rosita or whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, actually.
It is. It really is. So besides working on the show, you've also illustrated for Sesame Street magazine.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about doing that?
Yeah, I did a little bit of that, but it didn't go on for very long. I don't. It's kind of kind of hazy right now.
That's fine. That's fine.
I don't think I did that much for them.
So now, aside from Sesame, you're also animated for another CTW series, Big Bag. What was that? What was that like?
Yeah, that was a very interesting experience. I was doing like kind of graphic style animation, very, very limited, like 1 or 2 position type stuff and very quick turnaround. But I have to say it came at a time where I needed the work and I was so thankful for it. And it was nice to do something that wasn't full animation. It was nice to do like very limited, bold stuff for them. So that was kind of a fun project.
Definitely. And I know what Matt also mentioned in your introduction that you're also known for creating the dinosaur items for Nickelodeon and some other ones too. Can you kind of talk a bit about your work with Nickelodeon?
Yes. So those were all done through Fred Allen, which was Fred Seibert and Alan Goodman. They had their own company and they would produce these IDs for Nickelodeon. And their producer was a guy named Tom Pomposello. So Tom came to me with this doo-wop track, and I came up with the idea of doing dinosaurs in sneakers. And then the first one, I think it was one of the notable things about it was it had no cuts. It was a kind of a continuous flow. Tom's whole thing was get the logo in there as many times as possible within, they were 10 seconds long, but they felt like their own little worlds, and then so the first one was very successful, so we ended up making another one. And I also did like 1 or 2, maybe 3 other ones, I think.
Yeah, there are a lot of good ones. And I know we also talked a bit earlier about how they've kind of resurfaced over the past couple years. At the time, there was this block called The Splat, which had a bunch of old Nickelodeon shows, and some of the bumpers, including the
Yeah.
ones that you made, were on it.
I feel like they
So
also.
So it's
I think
kind
they
of cool
also
getting to
had
see
a-
them come back, because that was
Yeah.
I was born in 2000, so that was like before I was
Yep.
born.
That
So
was before. That was before my time.
getting
How
to kind
fun.
of witness 90s Nickelodeon in that form was kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
We had just missed out.
yeah,
Right.
I think they even used them this year or last year to promote the Kids' Choice Awards.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They used the animation, and then at the end, the dinosaur morphed into kind of a 3D version of the dinosaur.
Yes, yes, that's right. I remember now.
So that's pretty cool. And I heard
That is cool.
yeah, I heard that I haven't seen this, but someone told me that as part of the set, there were monitors and that was playing on the monitors. So yeah,
Huh.
they keep coming back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very memorable for a lot of people.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
And
Absolutely.
and when they were around, when they were hot, there was a whole promotion that we did with Pizza Hut, where if you had your birthday at Pizza Hut, you got, doo-wop dinosaur placemats and
That's cool.
crowns or whatever. Yeah, there was a whole
Wow.
thing with
Wow,
Pizza Hut.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I wish I would have gotten to do that. That was
I know.
sounds-
That's really cool. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pizza Hut did quite a few advertisements with Nickelodeon, though.
yeah.
That's really cool. I had no
Yeah.
idea they did that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, of course, it was before my time, so
Yes. Before
how
your
would I
time.
know?
Yes.
So, what was it like, getting to work on Go Island for doing animation graphics?
Oh yeah, that was, I really love that show. And some of my really good friends were involved in that show. Uh, I believe Kit was involved, but the producer was a really good friend of mine, Kathy Minton, and the co-creator. So I think that I didn't do the opening for the first season or second season, but I did the new opening. And that was like really fun, because once again, it was kind of like a combination of old and new technologies a little bit. Like it was just when After Effects was starting to come into, what people were using. So,
Yeah. Gulligle Island's a good show too. We've had some people on from that show in the past too. We had Shayna, who was one of the kids
oh wow.
on the show, and Peter Lurie, who did composed the theme song for it.
Yeah, compose the theme for it.
Yes, yeah, Shanna.
Yeah,
So
Peter Lurie is an
they're
old
great.
friend of mine, and yeah, he's worked for me on one of my shows, and yeah, he's just a super, super talented guy.
Yeah, he's done a lot of other kids' work too. He composed a lot of songs for Bear in the Big Blue House, which is
That's right.
one of my
Yes.
favorite shows ever.
Love Bear.
And
And he's
Magic
done a lot
School
of work
Bus.
for Disney too.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
A lot of really good work. So, in the year 2000, you collaborated with fellow animator and author Mo Willems. Yes, that Mo Willems. folks.
Yes. Love Mo
Yes,
Willems.
on a
Yes.
short film called Life. For those who don't know what that is, could you describe a little bit about it and what it was like working with Mo Willems?
Yeah, Mo was an old friend of mine. I mean, he did all those amazing segments for Sesame Street before he did his books. And so I knew Mo from the animation world and from Sesame Street rap parties and stuff like that. Just a really nice, generous guy. And in those days, maybe there still is, but I was more involved with the independent animation scene. There was more of an independent animation scene, and people would do these films, like collaboration films, where you had a theme, and then maybe you got the first frame of someone else's animation, and then you got the last frame it had to end up on. And then it sort of you had maybe 10 seconds. So that's the way Mo's project was. I think I think that the character had to be eaten or something for each segment or something like that. But it was a fun thing to do. I mean, it's always nice to do something short,
Right.
and great collaborating with Mo, and it was really fun.
Definitely. And another short you worked on was a What a Cartoon short for Cartoon Network. Can you kind of talk about
Yes,
doing that?
yeah, that was a much bigger project. That was like a full-fledged 7-minute cartoon uh, with this comedy group called the Poster Boys. There are three guys who used to do comedy in these downtown clubs in New York City. Uh, then we did a lot of development on that, but it was done through Hanna-Barbera. That was when Fred was president of Hanna-Barbera.
Hmm.
So it was a really interesting project in that I had never worked with an overseas studio before. I did all the like character design and layouts in New York, and then shipped it to Hanna-Barbera, and then they shipped it overseas to have the animation and coloring done. So that was a really interesting process. Then I got to go out to California when they got the film back and edit it down to the proper lengths. Yeah, it was great working with a big studio, and it was a great experience.
Nice.
Very nice. You also served as a director on the MTV series Daria.
Yes, that's right.
What was that
Uh,
like?
yeah, that's a interesting process. Directing can mean a lot of things in animation, uh, and for them, directing, you're breaking down the storyboard into kind of like a thumbnail storyboard, like breaking down the script into a thumbnail storyboard. You're listening to the audio over and over to like try to pick up nuances. And then on that project, the director actually broke down the exposure sheets. So you are doing all the timing for the animators to work with. That was kind of a very different and new experience for me. I had never done that before. And then that gets shipped overseas. And then in those days it was Korea, and then they take it from there. The only thing I kind of regret about that was they were like so packed to the rafters up at MTV. They said, "Would you mind doing this at home or in your own studio?" And so I think I missed out a little bit on that camaraderie, or feeling like you're part of a show feeling.
Right. Yeah.
But you can't have everything.
So now moving on to writing books, how did becoming an author come into play for you?
Yeah, I always loved children's books, and Fred had this idea of doing children's books almost like a TV show, for ebooks, basically, that you would turn them out. Like, he wanted to do like one a week, basically, like do a season. Um, so the initial run we did was 10 books. Um, it was it was super fun working with Fred, and at that time they were still figuring out ebooks, what was going to work, what wasn't going to work. So the whole idea of doing like seasons and seasons didn't really work, but it did end up at this kind of like site for kids books, like it's sort of the equivalent of Netflix, but it's a book site.
Hmm.
uh, and it's doing really well on there.
Nice. And speaking of ebooks, one of your most recent projects is creating Lucy the Dinosaur.
Yes, that was
Um, which
so Lucy the
I've seen a little
Dinosaur.
bit online, and I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
And
Lucy the Dinosaur was the character for the ebooks, and then we also did. Did an amazing project with Frederator where we were turning out YouTube videos of famous kid songs, all kid songs that are in the public domain, basically, like Wheels on the Bus and Jack and Jill and all those kind of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but using Lucy the Dinosaur. And the plan was, and this is the plan we stuck to, we would turn out a new video every 3 weeks, which is pretty, ambitious in animation. But because of what we can do now in Flash, and also keeping things, the animation like sort of limited, we were able to stick to that schedule, and we made 30 episodes. And we even had a special guest appearance in some of the episodes by Wow Wow Wubsy.
Oh,
no
love Wow Wow Wubsy.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
That's a throwback. That was a wonderful
that is a throwback. Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Nice.
So, are there any words you'd like to say to those who have supported your work and followed your career?
I guess thank you. I'm still, doing stuff. I'm still, I have a YouTube channel. I'm still producing videos for my YouTube channel. I do a lot of GIFs. And I post artwork on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, all the support is appreciated.
Definitely. So aside from that, if people would like to connect with you, what's the best place for people to reach you?
Yeah, I guess my YouTube channel is well, maybe you'll put up some kind of link or something, but
Yeah.
That's Albumation. But as I said, under my name, I'm on Twitter. Twitter, I think, is a pretty good place to find me.
Definitely. Links to those will be in the description down below for people to connect.
Yeah, I've met a lot of nice people on Twitter who are like, there's 90s people who are really into the old Nickelodeon stuff, and there's all different groups, so it's really kind of fun.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Again, links will be in the description for people to check out your work. This last question that Jakey, wherever he went, is about to ask. This last question that Jake's about to ask is a question we saved for last. We ask every guest. Go ahead, Jakey.
Well, thank you, Matt. So, of course, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Yeah, look at that. So, when you think of nostalgia, what do you think of, or in your own words, how would you define the word nostalgia?
Oh, nostalgia. Wow, that's a good one. I guess it's that warm, fuzzy feeling you get from something like a little bit old but familiar.
Definitely great words to end on.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, Joey, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a blast.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you so much for what you've done to be a part of our lives. Keep up your great work, and can't wait what's next in store for you. Thank you for being on. It means a lot.
Yes.
Oh, thank you guys.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely. Keep in touch, and I will let you know when this goes up.
Okay, great. I'll send you like the links to maybe to my YouTube or something like that. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that'd be helpful. Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, Joey. This was fun.
Okay. Yep. Thanks so much.
Yes.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
pleasure. Take care, Joey.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Joey.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Okay, and it's goodbye from us as well, everybody. We absolutely enjoyed our time with Joey Ahlbum. Of course, we grew up with his work on Sesame Street, Elmo's World, stuff for Nickelodeon and so on. And keep on lookout for wonderful interviews. And as always, what do we say, Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show interview. Be sure to follow Jake and the crew on social media and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.